Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got a combo that one of you guys requested to see, and I definitely am curious to see what it does too, because in theory, I'm thinking this should be a pretty devastating combination. These shells are some great performers, but we have not tested this choke yet, so we'll see what the combination can actually do. So first up, for the shells I've got today, I brought out some more of the Herter's TSS turkey loads. This is last year's box design. They've since updated it to kind of like American flag design. I honestly kind of prefer this little more old school basic box. But either way, these are a 12 gauge, 2 3/4 inch, 1.5 ounce payload of TSS 9s, moving about 1200 feet per second. Little lighter payload in a 2 3/4 inch shell, and they have been some devastating performers. Now last year, they were one of the more affordable TSS shells on the store shelf. These are a Cabela's and Bass Pro exclusive thing since they own the Herter's name. However, these are all made by Winchester, and if you've paid attention to the TSS shell pricing this year, everybody has gone up across the board, but especially Winchester. These shells were about 50 bucks a box last year. Still not cheap, but now I think they're like $65 a box for 5 shells. Little bit unfortunate, but that's just the way it goes sometimes with the economy, I suppose. But they should be a really nasty performing shell through today's combo. So as for today's setup, I brought out the Remington 870 special purpose. I now have a 26-inch barrel on this gun, and for the choke, we've got a Primos Jellyhead TSS. We've tested the Primos Tightwad and the regular Jellyhead, but not the TSS Jellyhead. It's a 650 constriction, so a little bit more on the tighter side, but usually these Herter shells don't really care. So I've got high expectations for this combo today. But for today's test, we're running it the same as usual. I've got the turkey target at 40 yards and the chrono so we can get our velocity. So let's get you guys to view that target and see what these Herter's TSS loads can do through this Jellyhead TSS 650 choke. Alright, that shell gave us 1300 through the chrono. Boss claim is only 1200, so from that 26-inch barrel, we saw 100 feet per second more than they're claiming, but it's been a while since we've tested any Herter's TSS loads, but from what I can remember, usually upper 1200s or so is pretty typical, so nothing out of the ordinary here, and that is definitely getting up and moving on out for a TSS turkey load like that. But did we get those devastating results down there at 40 like I thought we might? Let's go check it out and see. Alright, so here's our 40-yard paper, and we see a pretty nice looking pattern here, but it didn't exactly do what I thought it might. Now yes, we did favor just a hair to the right. That is a pretty new barrel. I think I've only got 1 or 2 shots through it, so I'm still trying to figure out exactly where it hits. I think it is slightly to the right, so I can compensate for that in the future. However, we still absolutely have a dead bird at 40 yards all day long. Bunch of them through the head and neck area there, and if we had that centered up, it would be the same story, because that is a pretty even spread of pellets overall. If we bring it in here to our core, it's a nice even spread. There's no major voids or anything in there. The biggest void might be right up in the top right corner of that turkey target there, but it's no bigger than a golf ball, so it really isn't any kind of detrimental effect to the pattern. It's just a pretty nice even spread of pellets there. Even going out to the edges, we open it up just a little bit, but it doesn't necessarily go all over the place. We have a couple flyers, mainly over there off the left, and a couple down at the bottom, but none of that is unusual for these shells. A couple flyers is what we typically see. Overall though, that's a very nice, very huntable 40-yard capable turkey pattern. It's not super screaming tight, it's not blown all over the place, and I definitely wouldn't hesitate to hunt with that combo. That's going to give you a little more breathing room at closer ranges and still be capable to 45 and probably 50 yards as well. And this is interesting because it's not exactly what I thought we might see. Typically, when you get in the chokes tighter than about 660, one of two things happens. Either you condense the load down until you get a super tight, screaming hot core area while throwing a bunch of flyers around the edges, or you completely blow the pattern out and it becomes really splotchy and scattered all over the place. That really isn't what we saw here. I figured we were probably going to get a really super hot core and throw a good handful more flyers around the edges, but really that's a very nice hunting pattern right there. It's not super screaming tight, it's not blown all over the place, you don't have a ton of flyers to work with, but it gives you a little more leeway as well. You're going to have a ton of pellets hitting that bird, so there's really not a whole lot to complain complain about there. That's a very, very nice, solid looking turkey pattern. We've definitely seen tighter from these shells, no doubt about it. We've had those screaming tight patterns. But to my surprise, even though this Jellyhead TSS choke is a 650 constriction, and I did measure it, it is a true 650, it really gave us a surprisingly even and nice looking spread. So I think it worked out pretty well for us. Some people might prefer those really, really hot, nasty cores, but I think for the vast majority of people, they wouldn't hesitate to take that combo out on a hunt. And for the first test we've done with that Jellyhead TSS, it's looking like it might be a pretty decent performing choke. If we can continue to get nice, even turkey patterns like that with a wide variety of different shells, then it might be a pretty decent choke option for the mid-price tier. I think that choke was about 50 bucks, give or take a little bit. So really overall, not bad whatsoever. I'll take that any day of the week. And here's the wad from that shell. Pretty basic Winchester equipment here, since these are just a Winchester shell with a different brand name on them. They use these orange looking wads with a little styrofoam piece in the base. Overall, there are some very nice performing wads, and this one did the same as usual. No major damage, maybe one pedal open a little farther than the rest, but nothing I'm concerned with overall. Looks just fine for going through a 650 choke. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that result right there? Honestly, it's not really too far off from what I would call about the perfect turkey pattern. And that's something we've said a couple times now about these Herter shells, both 12 and 20 gauge. Even the 410 ones are good as well. But honestly, there's not really much to argue with or complain about there. Nice, even spread, no major voids, maybe a couple flyers around the edges, but it's just a very nice, very huntable pattern. It's not super screaming tight, it's not blown all over the place. If you center that up right around that bird's head, you're not going to absolutely ruin all of your meat either. So it's just a nice hunting pattern. And like I explained a minute ago, going through a 650 choke could have gone a couple different ways, but I'm a little surprised about how that performed. I expected a really good result from these shells, don't get me wrong, but that might be a little bit more open and even than what I thought we might see going through that particular choke. Either way you look at it though, it's a good pattern and I wouldn't hesitate to run it, that's for sure. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Herter shells or Jellyhead TSS choke? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is that a combination or a pattern you would hunt with? Is it about perfect for you? Would you prefer to see it a little more open? Or are you one of the guys that really likes that screaming tight core? And maybe what other shells do you want to see me run through that Jellyhead TSS 650? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.